Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. This is Taliesin McKnight, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about the Greek god Pan. It's like knocking on a door on a screen, you know. Have you heard the word of Pan? Um, Pan was a Greek deity, and Pan means all. And this could be interpreted as wholeness. Now, in the esoteric community, there are many different ideas and opinions on virtually every issue. And this is why there are ceaseless debates, and we've been arguing over spiritual things for thousands of years. And we will be arguing spiritual concepts and 1,000 more, as long as we don't realize what I've been talking about recently, the Hegelian dialectic. Thesis, which is an initial idea, antithesis, an opposing idea, and synthesis that combines the two. We realize that truth usually exists on all sides. Anyways, within the spiritual community, there is, first of all, I think the fundamental idea of liberty by restriction. That also is another example of the fusion of two opposing ideas. Balance every idea with its opposite. Their union is the destruction of illusion. But Pan means wholeness, liberty. There are different approaches to liberation or enlightenment. One way to liberation is to cut off the lower nature. And ultimately, I think asceticism is a valuable part of any practice, at least for me. Asceticism, control, direction. But another approach is not to transcend so much as to expand, to become expanded, to become more than we were before, to have a new human experience. The union of our individual point of awareness united with experience of the universe. Our individuality has united with the cosmos that much more. But Pan, for me, is a symbol of liberty, of breaking through, and of wholeness. So for me, it is wholeness. I think that for human beings to awaken, my own perspective, I often say this, just because I have an opinion doesn't make it true. And I think that it's unjust and wrong and illusory for anyone to become overly prejudiced with any one perspective. I'm not saying that I'm liberated from such a thing. I'm not. We all have biases and prejudices, but we have to navigate it. We have to break through. But breaking through is kind of what I'm referring to in this video. I think liberty and living our purpose and not bending our backs to the yoke of slavery of other people's expectations, what other people want us to do. So, and I'll get back to the Hegelian dialectic in a minute. By the way, I'm very excited over some Patreon videos about to come. I'm very excited about my Patreon. I'm going to come out with some stuff. But liberty, me personally, but like the worship of Pan in this way is a worship of wholeness and acceptance of ourselves. And it has to do with shadow work, which does not mean embracing your dark side. That's not what shadow work really is. Shadow work is being able to look at all of ourselves and understand ourselves, so that we no longer work behind our own backs. We know who we are and we have acceptance. But what I'm referring to with freedom, if your career does not bring happiness and meaning in your career, or if your partnership is not fulfilling, I know that it's scary, but my way that I live my life is to cast it off, and it's scary. Career, if you're not happy in your career, if you're not happy in your relationship, if you're not happy around a group of people, then it's not the right place to be. Freedom, not doing things based on what family wants or society wants or any of that, or social convention, or what is expected. I think all of these things have to be broken down, because at the core of our being is our will. At the core of our being is our self-expression. Action should be based upon our beinghood. Our actions should be the verb that comes from the noun of our being. So our selfhood is the noun, or at least the personality vessel is the noun, and how we act in the world is the verb. It is a movement, and moving unbounded, breaking through false structures, like a goat breaking through false boundaries, being expanded. Now, so my idea of Pan is that of it means all, it's liberty and being who we are, and the wildness of who we are at our core, and being that shining star of our selfhood in the world, which is itself a piece of the universe. Our individuality is an expression of the cosmos. We come out of nature, and therefore, following our will, our true will is in accordance with the universal will, expressing our beinghood. The seed of our beinghood is expressing nature. Free will and destiny are reconciled. The knot is cut. Free will and destiny. Because the two are one. When we are following out, not base desires, is not what I'm talking about, but who we are at the core of our being, that full unfoldment and self-expression is the unfoldment of the divine light, of our purpose, of our beinghood, of who we are in nature. Therefore, free will and destiny are one. But, the Hegelian dialectic. So thesis is an initial statement or opinion. Antithesis is an opposing idea, and synthesis is the union of the two. Society, the world is never always simple. Everything is nuanced because the cosmos is dual. And we could spend a great deal of time talking about how duality itself is a spectrum, but so what does this mean and what does it not mean? It does not mean infringe upon the will of others. It's wrong. And why is it wrong to infringe upon the will of others? Well, there are many different esoteric, there are many different ideas in the occult world, in the esoteric world, and esoteric philosophy, and Kabbalah, and all these things. But the idea of unity, to think that we're going to oppose another will, at least at a higher level, is to imply duality. It's to uphold the illusion of individuality, because you're failing to see that other person is also a part of the cosmos and part of the universal will, which is therefore part of our own will. We are part of nature. A cathedral is part of nature, just as much as an anthill. Things that we think of as human creations, they come out of nature because we are part of nature. Trying to separate ourselves from nature is like trying to separate a wave from the ocean. It's impossible. And nature is multi-layered, going all the way back to the source, I think, which is the utmost beinghood. But freedom, it does not mean go hurt people. It does not mean... What it means is, for me, is if you're unhappy in a career, to walk out once you have a good plan. If you're unhappy in a relationship, to leave it. And none of these things apply to my life right now, by the way. They're just examples. I'm very happy in all regards, really. And I think it's because I do what I want. I very much live this out. I do what I want. As long as it doesn't hurt anyone else, I do what I want. I live how I want. I live the style of life that I want to have. Yeah. So freedom is the unrestricted expression of our selfhood. And it is our fundamental divine right to express our selfhood, because our selfhood is part of nature, it's part of the divine. And back to the Hegelian dialectic, people can say that our selfhood is an illusion because all is one. Well, while all is one, this is still our point, which is part of nature. Think of it like 4 fingers. These fingers all go back to one hand, and it's all one. It's a unity. So many people are scared of living out who they really are without worrying about judgment or expectations. Many people bend their back to the yoke of slavery because of comfort and because of fear. Well, there is a very important virtue in all of this, and that is courage. For me, the will is symbolized by the sun and by the lion. The lion, Leo. Leo the lion is the will. It is the fiery will. It is the cherub of fire. In astrology, it's Leo, the cherub of fire. And for me, it is the will. It is the sun in its most exalted position. The sun and the tree of life being Tiferet in our selfhood. So the quality of Leo, we think of courage and the heart, and having boldness. Anyways, these are just some of my ideas. It's not the devil, it's not evil. To me, it is a symbol of breaking through. I think that someone would have to have something wrong with them if they were, adoring actual evil. Liberation, though, pan, all, the whole, being all things. And the realization of non-duality. Another idea of sanctification. The unity of things with themselves. Mankind no longer being at war with itself, but embracing it. Not seeing the animal nature as a beast to slay or kill, but an animal to be harnessed and directed by an higher intelligence. To be reined like the horses in the chariot. The beast may become the winged sphinx that will take us aloft to the house of the gods. It's all holy. The idea isn't to cut off the lower nature, for me at least. It's not about ascension as much as expansion, a movement in all directions, becoming unbounded, uniting with every opportunity that it's our will to be part of, to unite with nature by expanding human experience, to get out of ourselves. We think of these restricted, anytime we associate ourselves with a label, it's not self-knowledge, it's a bound, it's a restriction. I think it's important to break through different restrictions in ourselves and we can kind of understand ourselves. We have a wholeness. Back to the Hegelian dialectic, being at peace and understanding all of ourselves does not mean going with whatever whim. We have to be intelligent. The sign of intelligence is in making a choice. And choice is really the great lesson giver. As above, so below. Our life is, or at least should be, an expression of our selfhood. And if we're where we belong and where we are happiest, we're probably in a place that we can better help the world. So that's just this rant that I wanted to make this video on Pan. Yo Pan, yo Pan. Liberty, freedom. We are free. It's almost like an evangelical thing. Brothers and sisters, we're free. We're free. I don't know, just some things I've been thinking about. I have very good things that I'm planning, and I think some of the videos that I'm gonna have are gonna be actually some of the best content I've ever made. My problem, and this goes to self-knowledge, is sometimes motivation and getting myself going. I hate this flaw that I have. You know, the Kleepold is another discussion. Anyways, so that's it for today, and I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me. I'll see y'all in the next video.